Okay, I'm recording this meeting. Today is the 19th session of the class, and we will start with the review of the last class. The sloka that we covered in the last class is this. So who wants to recite it? Okay, go ahead.
Yadyad aacharati shreshthas tat tad eva taro janah tam kurute loka vartate
Tat anuvartate. Good. So, so we saw, Krishna tells Arjuna that whatever the great people do, the remaining follow.
Yeah, that other people follow.
Yeah,
Whatever a great person does, other people follow.
right. So,
Those people are leaders, right?
yeah, those people are the leaders. So who are some of the natural leaders? Did we talk about the natural leaders last class?
Well, Mahatma Gandhi was a natural leader, and so was Balgandhar Tilak.
For kids, who is the natural leader?
Mother, father, and acharya.
Right, and gurus. So, and then as you grow, you will follow lot many people, right?
Like your manager?
Yeah, the manager, the
You could
leaders.
be a leader.
Yeah, you could be leader for some, but you still have to follow some other.
Yeah, like a president.
Yeah. So in this modern world, everyone has to follow someone, right? So following is important, but there are some natural leaders who people all follow automatically. Like for kids, it's their parents. For the citizens, it's the head of the state, like president or king or queen, and so on.
But didn't we talk about how if somebody doesn't follow their leader or God, then there's nothing that other people can do? So some people don't actually follow their parents.
Yeah, so you have to be in uh, in a in a position in which the leader can guide you. If you totally sway away from the track, then the leaders cannot help you, right? The same thing, even God will not be able to help you if you go away from his path, right? So it is important that we are as close to our leaders as possible, right? So that we can follow them. And that is on the side of the followers. But you said that you can be leaders as well, right? So
Yeah.
what does it mean? Leaders have a lot more responsibility. So like if you become a natural leader, like a teacher or a parent, then you have a lot of responsibility because you are the role model for your children or your students.
So
Right?
if you do something wrong, they will all do something wrong?
Yeah, it's automatically, it happens very automatically. If suppose for the, yeah, so suppose in a home, um, um,
Like
mom,
how people of the kingdom follow their king?
yeah, they follow, the citizens follow their king, and kids. So there is also a saying in Sanskrit. It goes Yada Raja Tada Praja. That means as the king, so as the followers.
Oh. Is it also from the Bhagavad Gita?
No, it is not from the Bhagavad Gita, but it's a Sanskrit saying. So these things happen automatically. They kind of get built into the subconscious. Things happen automatically. For instance, in a home, if the mom is very polite and pleasing and all that, the kids automatically are somewhat similar. Like most of these great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Vinoba Bhave, and other great leaders in India who follow the Hindu culture, they say that their character they got from their moms. Um, on the other hand, if the mom is shouting and angry all the time, the kids also you can see that that automatically comes into them. They don't deliberately want to shout, they don't deliberately want to fight, but it automatically comes into them. So they are the role models. These are natural leaders and role models. So if you want to be a natural leader, or if you are a natural leader when you grow up, then it's a lot of responsibility. Um, so you must be knowledgeable about a lot of things, and you must be knowledgeable about spiritual codes also, not just living rules, natural rules of the nature, but you should also be um, fully knowledgeable about the spirituality aspects of living also. It's very important. Um, suppose who is our ultimate leader? Who do you follow?
God.
God, right? So we follow God by listening to stories about Him when He comes to earth, like Krishna's story, Rama's story. We try to follow what God did during those days, even today, right? So if God did not do His duty, what will happen to the universe?
Will probably perish or
Exactly.
be surrounded with bad.
Right, it will perish most likely.
Oh yeah, and like in one of the past slokas.
Yeah, if God does not do His duty, the world perishes, the universe perishes. So just like that, every leader, he is of course the ultimate leader, but under him there are several other leaders, like the head of the state, then the head of the family, then head of the class. So all of them are leaders. So these leaders have a tremendous responsibility to act in good faith, right? They have to do their duty diligently first thing, and they should be knowledgeable about a lot of things, and whatever they do, because whatever they do is subconsciously followed by all others. So they have a lot of responsibility, right? Um, so if the leader of a country does not do his job, what happens to the country?
It'll probably get taken over or
Yeah,
perish.
yeah. Suppose the leader of the country is not knowledgeable. For instance, there is an example. There are many examples of leaders who were not, who did not live up to the mark, right?
But then wouldn't they just not be taken down as leader and then have somebody put up?
It's leaders are given a lot of power also. Like God has the ultimate power, right? So
Right.
leadership also comes with power. So you cannot easily remove a leader by 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 design. It is like that. Leaders
But
are
isn't
like
that
representatives of God, so it is not easy to remove a leader. So, for instance, president of a country, it is very difficult to remove the president of a country. Same thing with managers in the company.
but isn't that somewhat foolish because what if something goes wrong?
So only people who are really good and who are believed to be good leaders are promoted or accepted into position. But yeah, you're right. Some natural leaders, some elected leaders, some appointed leaders, they don't live up to their mark.
So
And there are examples when they don't perform, what happens. So there is an example of country leaders who did not perform well, and how the country suffered. right?
Wait, so is Krishna trying to tell Arjuna that he is the leader of this battle, and first of all, whatever he does, the others will do. So if he backs away, then the others will back away. And also, if natural leaders aren't good, then the rest of the country or world will perish. So if Arjuna doesn't do the right thing, then the Kauravas will take over and make havoc on the earth. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, you can, yeah, you're right. That is kind of implication that Lord Krishna is making. He's not direct. Whatever slokas are said here, most of them are general, very general, which are applicable to the entire world. But yeah, Arjuna has to read into these slokas with the context that he is in mind. So the context in which he is in is about the battle and Lord Krishna being the leader and he himself being the leader. He has to set an example to all his soldiers, right? He cannot go back, right? So many people try to set an example, but only a few can be true leaders. It depends on the time also, time of the century, time of the yuga. So it depends on who becomes leaders, who is acceptable as a leader, right? And followers deserve the leader. That's what they say, right? Followers deserve their leader. So if a good leader is elected, the people get benefited. If a bad leader is appointed or elected or becomes a natural leader, then the followers get impacted, right? So there are many examples. The world wars are fought. They were fought. 2 world wars were fought with a lot of destruction in the world.
And there were lots of civil wars too.
Yeah, there were a lot of civil wars. Why? Because of the leaders' decisions. People were not happy with the leaders' decisions. So leading is a very difficult task. It is.
If it's a difficult task, then why would anybody want to do it?
There's a lot of power, right? There's power. There's fame. There's everything in leadership. All that anyone wants, because the leader is a representative of the king directly, of the god directly, right? So he has power, he has influence, he has people like him, a lot of people like him. Even if he is bad, a lot of people like him, right? Once he's a leader. There are some bad leaders, but still they have a lot of huge following.
They're somewhat forced to like them.
Yeah. So right, you're right. Many people want to be the leaders because there's a lot of, it's a good question that you ask. Many want to be a leader. They want to set an example, but only a few can be true leaders.
It's a good thing God is a true leader.
Yeah, God is the ultimate leader. There is no doubt about it. And if the followers all believe in God, they will choose a leader who follows God.
But if like the leader, the leader that's like wants to become the real leader, he could be a parent who is really bad, and then but they still might choose him, and then they already know that he will be like that. Wait.
Yeah, so some natural leaders are not really good leaders. We see so many parents, right? Today there are so many parents who are, I mean, you watched a movie.
Yeah, all the kids who are adopted didn't have real good natural leaders as parents.
Not like that. Not always. Not always. There are some parents who adopt kids, and there are some couples who adopt kids, and they set a very good example.
No, like like most of the time, the kids who are adopted, their parents, like their birth parents,
the birth parents,
they might have not been the best natural leaders, right?
Yeah, in some cases, yes. So, but they're not natural leaders. Yeah, but they're not natural leaders anymore, right? They are not bringing up the kid. The kid is being brought up by somebody else.
Also, then do those parents, the ones that adopted the kid, do they become the natural
Yeah,
leader?
they become the natural leaders. So a lot of traits come by birth, but a lot of traits get developed by with time, right? The genes can also change. So the people surrounding you have a greater influence, actually, probably even more influence than your genes have on you. Particularly if your willpower is poor, then the people around you will have a lot of influence on you. So you have to.
Also, that's how you say that we have to be strong, or else other people will take control.
Yeah, if you're strong, you get to choose.
Their parents, they mimic their
So,
grown-ups when
so we are not
they're
able to hear.
kids.
We are not able to hear. You have to pull the laptop near to you or something.
So, I think a grown-up once can be a kid, right? Whenever the grown-up is a kid, he knows how his parents act like. So by the family tree, the family can also be affected. So maybe if the grown-up's parent is bad, he could also naturally act bad. If his person, if the grown-up's dad did very good things in his life, then he would try to mimic his dad's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is exactly right. So our natural leaders and the people surrounding us, they have a lot of influence on us. Um, yeah.
Could the kid change the parent?
Yeah, that is possible too.
Yeah, if the leaders don't have any willpower, then yeah, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it may not be the case.
Sorry, what did you say?
Sometimes maybe the son of the grown-up's father may be different than him, so maybe he could have gone his different way.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, a lot of our Puranas, like Srimad Bhagavatam, um, clearly say that one should follow the footsteps of great devotees. And that is the only way for spiritual realization, right? Moksha. To gain moksha and to be in good books of the God, then you have to follow the footstep of great devotees.
That sounds like bhakti yoga.
Yeah. So like you follow Ramanujachari, you follow Shankara, Adi Shankara.
Hanuman?
Yeah, he was a devotee. So following the footsteps of great devotees is one way to for self-realization. That is the reason why a lot of these organizations, holy organizations, have what is called a satsang. Satsang means what is sang?
Well, I know sat means truth.
Yeah, sat is
Goodness.
truth or goodness. Sangha means sangha, daksha.
Oh, sang daksha.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, when they say sang daksha, I think it means it's like either turn or stay.
Sangha means it's an association, it's a society, it's a group.
Oh.
So satsanga means a group of good.
Oh.
Good.
Ah.
So,
Also, that's why this is a satsang.
yeah. What we are having is actually a satsang. If
Yeah,
not,
you told us the story of satsang and party and the friends.
yeah, that's right. So that is the reason why there are a lot of satsangs organized. And in machine learning also, a similar concept is there. You are evaluated by I mean, there's a saying in English also, right? birds of the same feather flock together.
Yeah, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, so a person can be evaluated by the friends he keeps is another quotation, right? So it's very important who you are associated with. And the same thing applies to machine learning also. In machine learning also similar concept is there.
Yeah, because who we like in the other graphs, like when we were using like vector lines and the one where we tried to determine if they were going to buy a computer or if they were more likely to cheat. There were some factors which were more important, and it depended on which factors were associated.
Yeah, so for instance, in the support vector machine model, we saw this graph, right? The plus signs are men and the circles are women, right? And we wanted to find out if someone measures 175 centimeters and weighs 65 kgs, is it a man or a woman? So for that, we had to draw lines and all that stuff. But is there a better way to do that?
Visual? You just do it like you can kind of tell, but then you'd still have to make a line inside your head.
Suppose the point is here, the person is here. So do you think it's a man or a woman? Here.
Man.
Man?
Man, why?
Because he's next to the other man.
That's right. Similarly, if the person is somewhere here,
Woman.
woman, right? So based on the neighbors, you can determine the class of the new data, right? So that algorithm is called as k nearest neighbors.
What does K stand?
Oh.
K is the number of neighbors.
Katie?
No, it's not a variable, it's a constant that you have to decide for yourself.
Oh.
So you can decide how many neighbors you want to look at to determine the class of a new data item.
Well, the more the neighbors, the better.
Yeah, the more the neighbors, the better. But sometimes I'll explain why more is not always better.
Because there might be too many bad people.
Right.
And then you'll get more used to it.
Exactly. So you get it. So that's right. More neighbors can actually cause noise. We want to strike a balance between noise. Noise means um, uh, uncertainty.
A lot of noise at night.
Yeah.
From this graph, especially the question mark in the middle between red and blue.
Yeah. So
it looks like they could have gone the opposite way, and then we would have thought it was blue, but they went the other way.
Okay, let me come to this, explain this. So first we need to decide how many neighbors we are going to consider. So in this example, we want to consider only 3 neighbors. Why do we consider 3 and not 2?
Well,
Why?
Because it's an even number.
Yeah.
There could be a tie.
Yeah, if it is an even number, then there could be a tie. So typically the value of k is odd, right? So if we decide how much the value of k we want the k value of k to be. So in this case, we decided that the value of k is 3, right? Now, suppose there is a new point. The question marks are new points, like a new person in the previous slide, right? If a new person comes here, then we conclude that it is man, and here it is woman, right? So just like that, these question marks are new entities. It could be a person, or if it is a...
The question mark below is woman, maybe woman, because sometimes men can also be short. The question mark above that is woman.
No. So one second. Let me explain let me explain the picture. So yeah, you can think of blue as, I mean, let us not put any names. Let us say blue and red for generality. Instead of saying man or woman or something specific, let us just say blue and red.
And they have factors too, like
Features.
yeah.
Yeah, each point is classified as blue or red based on certain features, right? So now you tell me, this question mark here, will we classify it as blue or red?
Blue. Yeah.
Why?
Because it's more on the blue. Closer to all the other blue points.
They're blue.
Yeah, the neighbor, there are two blue neighbors. So these are the neighbors, three neighbors, right? These are the closest points to this point. So there are more blue neighbors than a red neighbor, right? So that is why this point can be classified as blue. How about this one?
Blue.
Yeah, because all three are blue.
All blue.
How about this one?
Red.
Red. How about this one?
Red.
How about this one?
Blue.
Yeah, because they are two blue. So you get the idea, right? So this algorithm is called as
Blue.
Yeah, this algorithm is called as k nearest neighbors. We decide the class of a new data item based on its neighbors, based on its k neighbors. Now, like you rightly pointed out, if the value of k is a lot, then there could be some noise.
What if they're all this? They're all like it's even. There's even number of blues and even number of reds, and the point is right in the middle.
That's not possible because we are saying k is equal to an odd number, right? So you cannot divide it into. Yeah.
What if could you change the k number?
Yeah, you can.
Blue or red.
Yeah, if you choose an even number like 4, then it becomes like you said, it becomes difficult when there's a tie. So that is the reason why usually the value of k is chosen as odd.
You have to get the number of k by looking at the example, or like
You choose it. Right?
Yeah. So for instance, of course, these numbers are these points are far apart. But suppose k is equal to 3 in this case, and the point is somewhere here. What do you think is the person? The person is
a woman.
Why?
Because there are three neighbors.
Yeah.
woman.
Choose.
Because the three
one. Yeah.
neighbors, one is man and two are women. So
Right.
women are more than men.
Right. That's right. And so suppose you choose 5 neighbors. Then if the person is somewhere here, it is iffy, right? Like who are the 5 neighbors? 1, 2, 3, 4, probably this. Yeah, so probably somewhere here also, right? So so this point and this point are almost equidistant from this point. So you want to choose this or this? It becomes difficult.
You decide both.
Yeah, it could. You will not be able to get a good answer if I choose 5 neighbors, right? For instance, in this case, this is better example. Suppose I say 5 neighbors for this. So this point and this point and this point, they're all likely, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it becomes difficult. Supposing these two are nearer by just by 0.001 centimeters, then you might go with these blue points, whereas the real point may be actually red.
Oh.
So that is the reason why you cannot choose a very wide K, very big K. The K should be reasonable enough to give you enough accuracy, right?
But in like more like I'm guessing in like more official uses for this, there would be a lot more factors or a lot more dots, so they could use bigger K numbers instead of smaller ones.
Yeah, in some cases, bigger K value gives a better result. But you have to determine it by hit and trial in that case. You have to do a lot of experiments to see which case is giving you better results, right? So this is the algorithm. I mean, see the same concept in Bhagavad Gita is applied to machine learning also. This is a very powerful algorithm because it has a lot of advantages. It does not assume certain things like in the previous case in support vector machines. And did we talk about logistic regression? The S-shaped curve. S-shaped curve.
I don't know.
We didn't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so there's another algorithm called logistic regression. They assume that the dependencies between the features is linear. That means if you plot the feature, they will all be in a line. K nearest neighbors does not assume anything like that. It is very general. So that is why it is a very powerful algorithm. But the concept is so simple, right? You just look at the adjacent neighbors and then decide the class of the new data.
Who makes these algorithms?
You can invent one too when you grow up. And if your algorithm is very powerful, then it stays for many years.
Who thought of the idea?
Kanan, we don't know the name of the specific inventor. For some, we know the names, but for some, we don't know the names. So like support vector machines, there is a, it's quite recent. I mean, remember the support vector machines we studied last time?
Yes.
So this is from the 90s, 1990s.
Oh, well, that's not that far away.
So the inventors are known, but I don't exactly remember the names now right away. But Kanan, also I don't know the names. So you learned support vector machines, you learned k-nearest neighbors. What else did you learn in machine learning?
We talked about probability.
Yeah, probability.
And we learned about
naive Bayes algorithm.
Yeah.
Naive.
That was inventor.
Yeah, that is Bayes, right?
Yeah.
Bayes.
And this person doesn't exist.
Yeah, that is a GANs generated.
We learned
we learned a lot about machine learning terms and classification features.
Overfitting and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, we talked about how a self-driving car computes and recognizes things.
Yeah. So you see, a lot of things in machine learning are actually drawn from real life, and particularly Bhagavad Gita, which is the core of our living standards. There's a lot to learn from Bhagavad Gita and also machine learning, and both have a lot of similarities. So you're seeing the similarities, right?
Next, can we learn about how Google, like if you search up anything, you can and help the answer?
Yeah.
Well, that's because.
Yeah, we will try to cover that also. And learning. So, by the way, what is machine learning? So, learning is something that human beings can do, but not animals, right? And animals also learn, but not to the extent of human beings, right? So, learning is a superior aspect of living.
Knowledge.
Of living, actually, of humanity. So
almost like the Vedas. The
Vedas are knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah, there's actually a branch of something called artificial intelligence.
Oh yeah, AI.
Yeah. So machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence. When I was a student, machine learning was a very small part of artificial intelligence. But now machine learning is almost synonymous with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's like
when someone says machine learning, when someone says artificial intelligence, it's mostly machine learning.
Right.
So it is that uh, um, so that it is that important. And so this algorithm, is called lazy learning. Can you guess
Lazy?
why?
Well, it's very easy. It's easier. Isn't that why we use that so much?
Yeah, but there's another reason. So compare it to this. This is not a lazy learning model. Like you draw
Oh,
lines.
it's the actual model? Or, well, maybe because there are less points and they're farther away. Less data.
No, data. Just to give you an example, I chose only few data items, but in reality, there are many more points.
Okay, so then why is vector lines more useful?
Yeah, so this KNN is called lazy learning, but support vector machines is not called lazy learning.
Well, KNN is much easier to learn.
Just because it is easy to learn, you cannot call the algorithm lazy, right? The people may be lazy, but not the algorithm itself. Um, think think about real life. When do you call somebody lazy?
Oh,
So, okay, so I will give you two examples. So I'll give you an example. So there is an exam coming up. There's an exam coming up. When do you have exams? How frequently do you have exams?
We always have
Friday.
on Friday.
Okay, you have
End of week's tests.
okay, you have exams on Fridays, right?
Yeah.
So there is a student who prepares on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the exam and attends the exam on Friday. And there's another student who remembers the exam on Thursday night at 9 o'clock and then starts reading for the exam next day. So who is lazy?
The one at Thursday night.
Yeah, the one on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Right? So the same thing here. So the exam is the test data. I told you, right? This 175 centimeters and 65 kgs person is the test data. For in machine learning, the data is called test data. So that's like an exam. So support vector machines and other algorithms, even before the test, much before the test data comes, they prepare very well. Like we draw lines like this, right? Support vectors. Remember, we drew lines like this, connecting these 2 points. Before the test data came, we were all prepared for the test data in support vector machines.
Because you can draw the line pre-hand.
Yeah, but in KNN, we don't do anything like that. We don't prepare for the test data. We just leave the points like that. And then when the test data comes, we look at the neighbors. So we do more work when the test data comes than before the test data comes. Whereas in this case, we do more work before the test data comes because drawing these lines is very difficult. There is a lot of math. There is no, from visually you can see that you can draw lines like this, but in math, all this has to be math because computers don't have eyes. So there's a lot of math behind this. So doing all that math before the test data comes is really a lot of preparation, right? So that is the reason why this is called, this is not called lazy, but this is called as lazy learning, right? Because it does the work when actually the test data comes. Until then, it simply keeps quiet, right? So a lot of things in machine learning are like in the real world. So there's another algorithm called neural networks, artificial neural networks.
Neural means like brain.
Yeah, they are based on our how the learning happens in our brain. So when we have time, we will look at probably in one of the future classes, we'll look at how the neural networks work.
But machines don't have brains.
Yeah, that's what I will tell you how they function. I'll describe how neural networks can be constructed in the machines. Okay, so let us look at the next sloka. So this is also an important sloka. The third chapter. You should tell me which chapter is this?
Chapter
Third
30,
chapter.
30 sloka.
Right,
30th sloka.
30th sloka. And the sloka is like this.
30 sloka. 30th.
Yeah, 30th sloka. Mayi sarvaani karmaani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirasi nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatajvaraha. Right, that is the sloka. And what does it mean? Renouncing all actions in me, with the mind centered in the self, free from hope and egoism, and from mental fever, do you fight? Do thou fight? So, do you fight? So, what Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna is that like in the previous, one of the previous slokas, Lord Krishna said, right? Do not focus on the results.
Oh yeah, the fruit of your action.
Yeah, the fruit of your action. So renounce all actions in me and focus your mind on your own self. Then free yourself from hope and egoism and also from the mental fever. So he's kind of in a mental fever now, right? Arjuna, he's feverish because he wants to go back. He doesn't want to kill his kith and kin. And he says, you shall fight. So in Bhagavad Gita, the word fight comes often, but don't think that it is not applicable to us because it is fight. Every day is a fight for us. You can view every day as a fight for us, right?
We fight against
Yeah.
our brain,
Yeah, we fight.
body, and mind.
If you want to go outside or not in the coronavirus,
Yeah, yeah. Every step is a fight. You fight with your laziness. You fight with your laziness. You fight with your temptations. You fight with your.
You also have to fight for everything because most of the time, what your body wants is not what your mind wants or what your soul wants or something like that.
Yeah. So that's right. So that is the reason why just because it is fight, do not think that, oh, this lot of slokas have fight in them. In fact, even outside Bhagavad Gita, a lot of slokas have fight, depict fight. The fight does not mean real fight like in a war. The fight in these slokas mean the fight of the good with the bad.
fighting good to
Yeah,
bad when it's good.
yeah. And that, yeah, that happens every day. Every day and every,
celebrates that.
yeah. So all these slokas are applicable, very much applicable in our day-to-day lives, even though they say fight. So Mayi, we came across this word before also. Mayi means my, into me. Sarvaani. Sarva means all, right? Sarvaani means all sorts of. Karmaani means activities. Sanyasya.
Isn't
means,
sannyasas with the people who?
Yeah, sannyasis. Yeah, sannyasis. People who practice sannyasa are called sannyasis. And sannyasa means giving up completely.
Like yogis.
Yeah, like yogis. They give up all the material world, all the things in it.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, they sacrifice their families, they sacrifice their homes, everything that is material, they sacrifice. And then they become sannyasis. So sannyasa means giving up completely. Adhyatma means adhya means dhya. What does dhya mean?
Mind.
Mind, something to do with mind. Atma means
Soul.
soul. So mind and soul. That means full knowledge of the self. Self is what? What is self?
Soul.
Soul. You are soul, you are not the body.
And what is
Nor the mind.
Yeah,
knowledge?
the mind, the dhya is knowledge. So the full knowledge of self. Chetasa means by consciousness. Chit means mind actually. Chit is another word for mind. Chetasa means consciousness. Mind and consciousness, they all go together. So Chetasa means consciousness. Nirashi means nihi means without. Ashi, Asha means
Hope.
yeah,
No.
hope. Asha means hope. Without hope. Nirashi means without desire for profit or without hope. Without hoping for result.
There's a song like Chini Chini Asha.
Yeah, chinni chinni asha.
Yeah.
Asha means hope. So hope for the result actually. Profit here means result. Nirmama means what is nir? Nihi. Nir is actually nihi. When you
Nir.
combine with another word, it becomes nir.
Isn't me like more?
Nihi. Nihi means like in the previous word also there was nihi, right? Nirasha, nirashi. Similarly, nirmama. Nihi means without. Mama means yeah. No, mama.
Oh, they use mama in like the
Yeah,
Mamaka?
yeah, mamaka. Mama means what? Mama means my,
Really?
me, my. So nirmama means without ownership, without me. Bhutva,
Boo means like earth or something.
yeah, means staying. It's present. Bhuta bhavishyat, right? So
Does
bhutva
it mean
means
like boo, like baba, bhavani, and bhavati?
yeah, sort of the same root. Bhutva means so being. Yudhyasva, yuddha means you know, right?
Fight.
War. Yuddha is a battle or a war.
Yuddhaya.
War.
Nishchaya.
Yeah, yeah, yuddha means war, fight. Vigata,
Vigata spruhaha.
yeah. What does vigata mean? Spruha means what?
That was in the Sukeshu and Dukeshu
Right,
sloka.
right.
So
See, you should start remembering these words, meaning. You remember the words, but you should also remember the meaning. Vigata spruha.
Dukeshu, Sukeshu,
Vigata.
Vigata
So in the happiness, how should we be? Sukesha means happiness, right?
Yes, and then
Oh,
Dukeshu means
so
Suke.
Vigata spruha. How should we be in happiness? When something happy occurs,
Ah, this is the one where we talked about pendulum.
yeah,
We should have a. Well, no, we should be sitting or steady,
yeah, steady,
stationary.
yeah. Yeah, you're remembering the meaning and some words, but how about Vigata? Vigata means Vigata spruha. Spruha means consciousness. Vigata means without.
Ah,
So when something ecstatic, exciting happens, you should just stay calm and you should not be so conscious about it. So without,
yeah.
yeah. So Vigata means without. So Vigata jvara. Jvara means fever. So in this case, yeah, jvaram. So in this case, it means without being, when you are feverish, you are lethargic also.
Yeah, we talked
Lethargy
about
means
how
lazy.
we
So
talked about how Arjuna
Because
was like having a mental fever and was
Right.
being feverish.
because like all you can't like run because you have to stay in bed and
right.
so you're lazy.
So feverishness, it's called feverishness. So that's the meaning of this. So that means God is saying that you surrender. That means you submit all your actions to me.
Hello?
Sorry, what is that? You submit all your actions to me. Whatever you do, think that you are doing it for the sake of the God. Right? So don't think that you are doing it. Think that you are doing it for the sake of the God.
Oh yeah, last class we talked about how we should offer everything to God.
And we eat the
Right.
leftovers.
Yeah, sacrifice. So this is the continuation of that. So in this sloka, God is saying that just do all the actions as if you are obeying me. You are taking them as orders from me. So just do the actions, thinking that you are doing for the sake of the God and not for yourself. And God will be happy, right? When what happens when you do what your parents or natural leaders tell you? How do the leaders feel when you do?
They feel happy,
right?
And
And
you
how
become
about
just like they become.
Yeah, exactly.
And they
So
are leaders. So.
yeah, so we cannot be happy without our parents or teachers or the natural leaders cooperate with us, right?
Right.
The natural leaders, if they don't cooperate with us, we cannot be happy. Same with God. If God is not happy and he does not cooperate with us, then we cannot be really happy. We can be temporarily happy, but not for a long time. Right? So that is the reason why we should follow his directions. God, your first thing is your consciousness itself tells you. God lives in your consciousness all the time. So the consciousness itself is like God, and it tells you what is good and what is bad. But some people get into the habit of overriding the consciousness. They keep saying, oh, that's okay, I can do it. I don't have to do it. All that is bogus. So if you keep getting into that habit, one day your consciousness stops prompting you. It will stop telling you what is good and what is bad.
That's not very good.
Yeah, so that is the reason why you should always listen to conscience. So it is very important to just do what is expected of us. Have the knowledge of what is expected of us. I mean, last class we saw, right? We should first know why we came to this world. And based on that, we should act accordingly.
Yeah.
Right? So the same thing here. We should first have the knowledge of what is expected of us and then do accordingly. So for instance, you take the salesperson in Safeway or Bharat Bazaar or wherever you go, Costco, there is a salesperson, right, who handles money, right? So the salesperson knows what needs to be done, right? And the salesperson handles probably thousands and thousands of dollars every day.
Right.
But do the thousands and thousands of dollars belong to him?
No, we go to the manager.
Yeah, and is he doing the sales work for himself?
Well,
is he doing that sales for himself?
No, he's
doing it for the store, for the manager of the store, or for the owner of the store.
Then what will he get?
Right? Well, what?
Then what will he get?
He gets paid.
He gets
Just a little
paid.
bit.
He makes a living. What is the other word for pay? Getting paid? Makes a living. He makes a living. The same thing here. We are just salesperson for the God. We are acting for the God. Nothing is ours. We are only making a living by acting according to what the God tells us. Right?
Right.
So that is an important, very important thought that should always be kept in mind. Whatever you are doing only for the sake of the God. Right? It is very important. So everything belongs to God. And when we remember this, then we do not own anything. We do not claim that this belongs to us. Right? So it is said that God laughs when people say certain things. Like God laughs when the doctor says, "Oh, don't worry, I will save your parents' life."
Really? Why?
Is the doctor really saving the life?
No, God is.
It's the God. So God laughs.
I get that.
So this guy is a fool. He thinks that he is saving a person's life, but I am saving. Similarly, somebody says, "This is mine. This toy is mine. This toy is yours." God laughs at him because we don't own anything. Everything belongs to God. So God laughs, and just like you are kids. Now you are playing with this one, and this belongs to me, right? You are playing. Both of you are playing with this and this, and then you say this is mine, and then the other kids say this is mine. So what do I think? I just laugh because I know that they belong to me, right? They will eventually be mine. So just because you are playing now, they don't belong to you. I know that, right? And the same thing, you are playing hide and seek or whatever games, your friend and you are playing. You say, this is my room and that is your room. What do your parents think? They just smile because this house belongs to me,
Yeah.
right? The same thing. So God laughs when somebody says, this is mine, or I saved the life, or I am great. God simply laughs, right? Uh, so that is the reason why nirmama is a very important word. Nirmama means nihi, means without, mama means mine. So there should be nothing of yours in your actions. So nothing is mine. So that is what leads to the moksha. That is what leads to good spiritual living. And that is the path of God. That is how we reach God, by not owning anything. Um, so when we remember that whatever we are doing is just uh, God's will, then we will not think that we own it. Like just like the small kids, right? Once they realize, now when you are small, you played with these things that belong to your parents, and you thought this is mine, this is mine. But as you grow, you will not do that, right? You will know, oh, this is dad, this is mom's, these are not mine. So you will stop saying that these are mine and all that, right? So you should develop that knowledge, and because that is the truth, that is eventually the truth. See how deep these slokas are. So we should be like actors. Remember I told you about a word called Ranga Nayaka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Ranga.
Ranga means colors, right?
That is Rangu. Ranga means stage.
In one of the songs, it goes Ranga Nayaki.
Ranga Nayaki. Yeah, Ranga Nayaki.
Is that referring to a
Nayaka means leader. So Ranga Nayaka is basically the leader of the stage, the god.
Oh.
And we are just players. We are just actors.
Oh.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like the main character on the play.
No, he is the director. The god is a director. He is in the background. He doesn't act. He sometimes acts.
Oh.
The directors also act, right, in movies sometimes,
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
but very rarely. So he
Like,
does.
If without the director, they would dressed up in their regular fancy outfits to go like blah blah blah, and they wouldn't have anything to do.
Yeah, that's right. So you got it right. They wouldn't have anything to do, anything to say on the stage if the director was not there. Same thing with God. God is the Ranganayaka or Ranganayaki. He is the leader of the stage, the director of the stage. And we are just players, we are just actors. We just say dialogues. Whatever we are expected to say, we say those dialogues, and we do the actions, whatever God told us, right? But nothing is ours. Do the actors own anything on the stage?
No,
Nothing. Zero.
not
Right?
even their roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are like that. We own nothing. So that is the reason why God is also saying, give up the ego. Right? Ego means taking pride in yourself, thinking that it is all yours.
Arrogant.
Thinking that is no, this is slightly different from arrogance. Arrogance stems from ego, but ego means self-centeredness. You think that you are this center for everything around you.
The center of the universe. That's
Yeah.
the definition for God.
Yeah.
Actually, that's kind of like bragging.
Yeah.
It is.
So this whole world is God's Maya, magic. So it is, and
What do you think it is?
yeah, like in the movie Matrix. If you have seen the movie Matrix, maybe you
They're
will.
like a,
My daddy did. He named the network after it.
Yeah. So the movie Matrix is like that. It conveys the same kind of impression. Okay, we are on the dot. So we are on the hour. So let us close the sloka here and continue the discussion next class also. Okay, so let us end with the prayer. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Sanmangalani Santu.